and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Church, God has a plan for us. He has good plans for us. Plans that will heal us and bring us together as one nation. Plans for freedom. Plans for opportunity. Plans for justice. But let us remember, it is not enough to just believe in those plans. We must act. Not enough to only pray. Not enough to just talk. We must act on the plans He has in store for us. And we must make them real through our works, in our daily choices, in service to our communities, and yes, in our democracy. Church, I do believe the prophet Jeremiah understood this responsibility when we think about the story. As a young prophet, he watched as leaders abandoned the people. He saw them enrich themselves while the poor suffered. He witnessed them make hallowed promises while justice was being denied. That's why he spoke hard truths. He challenged those in power and confronted injustice. Jeremiah knew something profound. The Lord's plans for the people are made real through the people. Not through empty words, but through faithful action. Now, I grew up in a church that took that lesson to heart. As a little girl on Sundays, my sister Maya and I would go to 23rd Avenue Church of God in Oakland, California, where we attended Sunday school and sang in the children's choir. Not nearly. Brenda Lawrence and I were saying, the way you sing it, in my mind, that's the way I sing, but not actually. But it was growing up and in church that I first learned, of course, the plans that God has for us and the teachings of the Bible. My earliest memories of those teachings are about a loving God, a faithful God, a God who asks us to speak up for those who cannot speak up for themselves and defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Growing up in the church, I learned that faith is a verb. We show it in our action, in our deeds, in our service, and in hard times. When we may, yes, grow weary in doing good, but we must remember the plans the Lord has for us. And so today, as we look ahead to a moment that will define the very character of our nation, I do believe Jeremiah's prophecy holds great urgency. As a nation, we face real challenges. We face real challenges. We carry real burdens. We feel real pain. And we must remember that faith combined with our actions gives us power. The power to move past division and fear and chaos. The power to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with our God. And the power to fulfill the promise of America. The promise of freedom and opportunity, not just for some, but for all. A promise the Black church has understood and pursued for generations. To help America live up to its extraordinary potential. So, church, we have 2 days. 2 days until we decide the fate of our nation. An incredible number of our young people, our young leaders, oh, it would inspire you to see how they are organizing for change. What I love about that generation, Bishop, they are quite impatient in a most wonderful way. As I travel our nation, I see neighbors helping neighbors who were perfect strangers before, but now neighbors recover and rebuild from disasters. I see voters standing together to defend freedom. And while we know there are those who seek to deepen division, sow hate, spread fear, and cause chaos, this moment in our nation has to be about so much more than partisan politics. It must be about the good work we can do together, about our fundamental values, and about us as Americans and as people of faith. Here in Michigan right now, each of us has an opportunity to make a difference. Because in this moment, we face a real question. What kind of country do we want to live in? What kind of country do we want for our children and our grandchildren? A country of chaos, fear, and hate, or a country of freedom, justice, and compassion? And the great thing about living in a democracy, as long as we can hold on to it, is that we have the power, each of us, to answer that question. So I'll close by saying, let us answer then, not just with our words, but with our works. Not just with our faith, but with our feet as we walk to the polls. And let us use our power to advance the cause of freedom, opportunity, and justice. Yes, let us turn the page and write the next chapter of our history, a chapter grounded in a divine plan big enough to encompass all of our dreams, a divine plan strong enough to heal division, a divine plan bold enough to embrace possibility, God's plan. And in these next 2 days, we will be tested. These days will demand everything we've got, but when I think about the days ahead and the God we serve, we were born for such a time as this. The road ahead won't be easy, but in times of uncertainty, we are reminded weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning, and church morning is on its way.